Amazing. That song is beautiful. Man at the Well. We know about the woman at the well. This one is Man at the Well because now it was referring to Jesus. Very powerful, powerful song there at the well. I found the living waters. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, let's get down to the newspapers this morning. And of course, the top story is about former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua returning. And the top headline here says a chaotic return. And there's a picture that they've put, and I mean, Gachagua is squeezed in a multitude of people and security trying to cover him. I think he's even being carried. Policemen are back there. They can barely reach to him. So it's indeed chaotic. And I'm seeing here DCP party leader cuts short 2-month US tour to lead by-election campaigns. And I see former President, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua welcomed by hundreds of supporters, jameni, at JKIA. I also see supporters face off with police who thwart bid to breach barricades on restricted zones at JKIA. And then Gachagua's motorcade pelted with stones by rowdy youths who had blocked Mombasa Road. I also see defiant opposition group cancels Kamukunji rally, makes fiery speeches along busy highway. I'm telling you, chaotic. In fact, most people yesterday were just trying to get home as quick as possible to avoid the chaos that may erupt, and it did in some areas of the country. And moving on, I see the top page is also covering Shah sent 20 million shillings to ghost facility. Okay. I'm seeing when Nation team visited Nyandiwa dispensary yesterday, the gate was closed with only a cow grazing inside the compound. This is a scandal. Story covered on page 7. So 20 million shillings has been sent to a ghost facility. People do not understand where this 20 million shillings has been. I mean, Shah has received a lot of conversations, and I think this one just makes it even worse, adds salt to the injury, because money has not been sufficient for most people. We have cancer patients and even those who are undergoing dialysis struggling because Shah has not been so much effective. But now this is coming up, which definitely is going to send a lot of chills even among the citizens. But we continue to follow up on the story to know where these 20 million shillings went to. Moving on, I see Ruto, unfair lending rules hurting Africa. I see addressing the plenary session of the Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Japan, the president said global financial institutions are stifling the continent's development through unfair credit ratings. A story covered on page 8, that is of the Daily Nation. And of course, moving on, some other stories here. I see unfinished revolution, how Kenya's unsung heroes are leaving Beijing's promise. That is covered on the Daily Nation as well. And moving on now to the Standard, just to look at the highlights and what is being reported on the top page this morning. Of course, we see what is being covered is just similar to what we've already touched on the Daily Nation. And with the Standard, they're putting it this way: a charged return, because it really was a charged return. The wordings here are that his allies feared police would whisk him away at the airport. Instead, chaos trailed Rigathi Gachagua's convoy as hired goons lay in wait on Mombasa Road, pummeling cars with stones, robbing motorists, injuring supporters, and leaving journalists bloodied. What was billed as a triumphant return turned into a running battle of tear gas, knives, and shattered glass. A story covered on page 6 and also 7. I also see the DCP deputy party leader here, Cleophas Malala, saying, "I told you yesterday that there was a plan to arrest our party leader and take him to the Directorate of Criminal Investigations." So this is quite interesting. So state goon strike. I think that was the major thing happening, because now what we see is that every time there is a chaos, every time there's a rubble, these goons come out, and of course the results of it is detrimental, because now we have shattered glasses, we have blooded journalists, we have people who had their things stolen and all all that. So all this is, of course, to paint whatever is happening in the worst picture. But that is what was happening yesterday, and I hope that you are safe wherever it is that you are, and that yesterday did not affect you in any way. But anyway, moving on, I see Ugandan fans still show at Chan 2024 stadiums with hilarious jersey messages. This is quite interesting. I think reading some of these very funny, hilarious jersey messages, someone here is saying a prisoner is more free than a man who promised a woman money. They are quite interesting, very, very funny. But anyway, moving on, some of the sports news being reported on the Standard newspaper. Murkomen joins Kenya-Tanzania football rivalry banter ahead of Morocco clash, akisema tutacheza kwa Kiingereza. That is what is being reported now. Having a look at the Business Daily this morning, I'm seeing Kenya in China talks to have SGR loan rate swap dollar debt. Interesting. I see SGR loan interest will fall to 3% from the current 6.37%. Railway debt to be converted from dollar to yuan, which is definitely good information right there. On the intelligence part, I see how nearly 3,000 livelihoods in the sugar belt were extinguished by a directive authored in red-carpeted Nairobi office, a single stroke of the pen. More stories on the Business Daily. Digital lenders want licensing threshold raised to 50 million shillings. I also see DTB profit up to 9.7% on low cost, higher loan book. Kenya 6 new trade deal with US ahead of AGOA expiry. So that is what is being reported on the Business Daily. And you can grab a copy of your favorite newspaper. But remember, at Hope FM, we have news updates at the top of every hour. And of course, right here on Hope TV, we have news for you at 7 and also 9 p.m. That is Dira and Newswatch consecutively. So it's 46 minutes past 7. So now let's have a look at the VOD. When we come back, we'll be talking about it even as we usher in the second hour.